Eye on Gauteng, brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Economic Development.
Welcome back. You're watching Eye on Gauteng. We're talking tourism today, and still with us is Dawn Robertson, Etienne Turin, and John Banda. Just before the break, Dawn, we were talking about the lifestyle products that are available in the Gauteng province, the fashion, the history, the museums, and so on. Tell us a little bit how this actually makes Gauteng a unique proposition.
I think Gauteng has a whole range of lifestyle products that we're probably not familiar with as locals living here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got some of the best struggle routes. We've obviously got the products that we've spoken about. But one of the key things that we're also using to drive domestic tourism figures and hoping to push into kind of regional tourism figures as well as our big events that we have in Gauteng. And we are currently kind of looking at a major event strategy. We'll look at how we kind of showcase the big events that we have here in Gauteng. You were with us for the Sansui Summer Cup a few weeks ago, looking at the big fashion events that we have, the Joy of Jazz, and a whole range of events. And what we're trying to do is get a nice seasonal spread so that we don't have the situation that we currently have where September, October, we just don't know where to go in Gauteng because there's so many major events happening. And then there's some months where there's not much happening. So the event strategy will try to get a nice spread across the province of major events, and we'll use these events to actually encourage locals to kind of go to them, but also start to market outside of the province, both nationally and within the regions. And we really want to try and get a push of more African visitors coming into these events and, you know, use that to grow the local visitor economy.
Mm-hmm. Now, John, I'd like to bring in here the African visitor, as Dawn said. South Africa is a destination that I've been on the continent, and every single person I meet, they want to come to South Africa. And I'm sure you have to take them around. What is the kind of impression they have when they are here in Gauteng, our African visitors? Have you taken them through your paces?
Yes, I have. And South Africa as a whole is a country to boost with. We have a lot to boost, and Gauteng specific province, we have more to boost with, and more people like to come to South Africa, as you said. And we have really something that you cannot finish it in a month or so. You really
how about the perceptions? You know, because a lot of people back home, they hear horror stories about Gauteng in particular.
No, I disagree with that. I disagree with horror stories in South Africa or in the whole of Gauteng. You need to be a tourist person, and you need to look after yourself. Since I've been taking tourists around, I've never had even single one incidents which I can report with. So people like to generate things or to exaggerate on things. You know, when you are a tourist and touring around South Africa or the Gauteng province, that it's so called the horror place, it's not. You need to go to a place like Soweto, which people think Soweto is much safer. People welcome you, people stay you there. You know, I would give you an example, like in the World Cup, people were walking on the street at night. People were knocking on someone's door, they'll be welcomed. They'll be sit down, eat the magwenya, drink the macheu, and enjoy. People spend hours flying to South Africa just to enjoy South Africa. We need to give them what we have. Give them the magwenya, give them the malale mogodu, give them what we have. We shouldn't go Western.
Some of the traditional dishes. So a lot of the tourists are pleasantly surprised. That's good to know. I want to bring you in, Etienne, the whole cost issue. A lot of people have this in their mind that, you know, to be a tourist, they have to have a lot of money. And they find it, well, they think it's expensive. Tell us about some of the products that you have that dispel that myth, or is it a myth?
Yes, no, that's certainly a myth. No, I think we've got a lot of products in Gauteng already, ranging from 3 to 5 star lodges.
How many lodges do you have on the plot?
We've got about 20 proper lodges, of which about 4 of them are bigger, where more than 50 people can overnight. But I must say that the prices in Gauteng is certainly very well priced. We much better priced than I think some of the other reserves. And we can offer exactly the same as all the other reserves. The advantage we've got is that we're in such close proximity of Gauteng that people can do day game drives. And just referring back to what you've discussed with John on crime and so on, I must say Now, Dinokeng's only officially open for about a couple of months, but unofficially, the area's already been known for quite a while, and we've had tourists for quite a while, and we've never experienced any crime in that area. So I really believe it's a safe environment, and I think with the Big Five Game Reserve now in Gauteng, the Gauteng government actually closed the loop to be able to offer visitors anything that they can almost see at any other place in South Africa except the sea.
Fantastic. Well, Dawn, just to bring you in on that whole cost debate, all the tourism debates that we've heard, inevitably this comes up. Should we be having a parallel system where the locals pay less and the foreigners pay more? They have this in other countries, I'm sure, Kenya, Zimbabwe, and so on. Is this something that you guys have thought about at GTA?
I think it's part of the national strategy that sort of has been a topic of discussion, particularly while we try to encourage people who traditionally haven't had a culture of being tourists. You know, the legacy of South Africa has meant that lots of us never had these opportunities. And, you know, as we kind of accrue wealth, the first thing is to kind of get out of the country and go overseas if you can afford to. And not many people kind of see starting off as a domestic tourism as the way to go. So the discussions are on the cards. We're looking at things like, you know, the kind of lodges and facilities that used to exist that belong to government, and possibly looking at how those can be used to encourage people to start to be tourists. But I think the GP campaign, which really is working with product owners to say to product owners, yes, if you can reduce the cost for locals, but you determine how you're going to reduce those costs. Yes, you might, you know, earn slightly less because you've reduced the cost, but your numbers are going to grow up phenomenally, and it's going to actually just get this whole culture of domestic tourism going. Because domestic tourism for us is what is the base load of our tourism economy. You know, it allows us to grease the wheels and get our service excellence right and get everything right, so that when the international visitors come, they just have that much more of an enhanced experience.
We've heard this, and I'd like John or Etienne to come in, even yourself, Dawn, like the number of tourists that create one permanent job. We've had 6 tourists that will create one permanent job. We've had 7, we've had 8. What is the actual number? How many tourists need to come here to create one permanent job?
We used to work on the figure of 8 tourists to one job. I think the international figure is around about 9, 10 to 12. But recently, South African Tourism, National Department of Tourism have determined that it's about 16 tourists to one job.
16?
16 tourists, yeah.
John?
I think one tourist creates more jobs. Because you look at it, when I put one tourist, one guest walk into South Africa. First of all, it's a driver going to pick him up at the airport, take him to the hotel, the receptionist, the waiter, the chef, the man in the farm who brings the cattle, who look after the cattle to have that meat, to have those vegetables. So one tourist.
So you're grateful for even just the one?
One tourist.
Well, yeah, I think also I think it's less than 16, especially in Dinokeng, certainly. You know, we've got the luxury that we've got the Hammanskraal community on our borders. And the products in Dinokeng take a lot of the tourists into Hammanskraal to go and experience the local people, shebeens, local restaurants, and those kind of stuff. And then also involve the local people into the products, not only for jobs, but for like cultural dances, music, and those kind of stuff. So I think there's a lot of benefit for the local people out of tourism. I don't think we've done enough to unlock it enough, but certainly the opportunity is there.
Now, and I also think the Gauteng people are very welcoming, and you know, going to some of the cultural villages like the Lesedi Cultural Village, you know, one is just totally stunned by the kind of hospitality and reception we have there. Dawn, just to bring you in on the whole discussion around tourism from a social economic impact, the Gauteng Tourism Authority is placed within the Department of Economic Development, and for the longest time, tourism has always been seen as this frivolous industry that people don't really take seriously. Your comment on that?
I think everybody realizes, and I think the World Cup did a lot to actually show the impact that tourism can have on the economy. Hence, well, prior to the World Cup already, we now have a Department of Tourism, which we never had before. It used to be a combined department. And I think it's been taken a lot seriously in the provinces as well. You know, we don't have the name tourism in our Department of Economic Development, and it's not in tourism, but it's there, and it's getting a lot more prominence, and it's seen for the value that it actually can provide to the economy. But I just want to pick up on something that you and Etienne were talking about before this, which was, you know, I think as marketers, as tourism marketers, what we are selling is experiences. It's not about the product. It's about that experience that somebody has when they come here. And that's about the people. It's about the place. It's about the food. It's the whole combined experience. And I think it's that unique South African experience that we need to sell. And that's what we sold in the World Cup, and we sold so successfully. And that's what we need to kind of premise our whole marketing strategy on. These amazing, unique, individual experiences that you'll have in South Africa, and even more unique experiences that you have particularly in Gauteng. It's not just about coming here to do business. You know, come here, do your business, but get out there, experience the people, experience the environment, and that will deal with the perceptions of crime in Gauteng, I think.
So tourism is a big business, and I think our discussions have really made that clear. And from an organizational point of view, I spoke about the Department of Economic Development, Gauteng Tourism Authority, we have the Maropeng and Cradle of Humankind, as well as Dinokeng, has been put into one sort of cluster as well. How's that going to help the industry?
Okay, Maropeng, or the Cradle of Humankind, is a World Heritage Site. And Dinokeng as a cluster of 3 areas, which is Dinokeng Game Reserve is just one aspect of it. You still have Rhodoplat Dam as another kind of cluster, and you have your Cullinan as another area. These were what we call geospatial projects that were started about, help me out there, Etienne, about 10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah.
And they were identified as geospatial projects that could bring economic benefits to particular areas because they were particularly deprived areas. Hence, you've got the West Rand area with Cradle of Humankind and Dinokeng down in the Swane region. There were others. There's another one that's in the kind of pipeline, which is down in the Vaal area, called the Vaal 21 project, which starts to look at how you could actually get economic benefit out of those areas. And these projects originally started off as Blue IQ projects and ran as separate entities. What's happened now is that we've realized that we're both in the tourism business, and we kind of might be stepping on each other's toes and not been using resources as efficiently and economically as we can. So now Dinokeng, as that cluster of special projects, and the Cradle of Humankind as a cluster of projects, are now within the Gauteng tourism mandate. So we now are just one big entity that is driving tourism and the visitor economy in Gauteng.
Well, we're going to have to end it here, but just a quick comment from John as well as Etienne. What will you say to people out there, encouraging them to come and visit Gauteng as a tourist?
Well, I would say come and enjoy the Gauteng and the whole of South Africa. Crime is not a thing to worry about it. And safety is not a thing to worry about it. In terms of to respond to your pricing issues, I think the pricing, one, you have to look at that. Be realistic with your price so that the people can come back to you. I've learned that from the World Cup. People are coming back from the World Cup now because of the pricing that you gave them.
Okay.
So I think that's a good one.
Etienne?
Lionel, I think in Gauteng we can offer the tourists almost everything that Africa can offer now.
And now Big Five.
And including the Big Five. And certainly we are gearing ourselves up to accommodate more and more tourists, and through that develop more and more opportunities for the local people.
Fantastic. Dawn, John and Etienne, thank you so much for coming to us in the studio to talk about tourism in this great province. Well, on that note, we come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. From me, Lionel Skink, and the rest of the team, it's goodbye for now.